availability set, then the fault domain, we can use the fault domain, which is maximum, the limit will be 0 to 5. So according to that, we have, if we set according to 0 to 5 in between, so we can have a redundancy. For mainly it is used for redundancy.
Okay. So what type of redundancy? When do we use this fault domain and what is the purpose of this fault domain? What is the actual function of this fault domain? What actually it does at the backend?
Backend, there will be present there, like there will be separate racks type hosts. So once this is down, the other host will take the like active passive, there will be active passive servers like hosts. So if the first one is active, the remaining two or three, whatever we keep the number, they will be passive. Once it is down, the second one will start active, so it will take the control, and we can, like the downtime, we can like mainly it is used for the the downtime will not be able to shown to the customers. Like customers will not face the downtime. Automatically, the passive one will get active, and the customers will be able to maintain the same flow.
I understand, but what I'm saying, like, the way you explained is something is not acceptable. Okay.
Mm, mm.
So more or less you explain the right thing, but it should be more precise. Okay.
Correct. Okay. Okay.
So what you need to do, what you need to, you know, explain, like, file domain and update domain are the part of the availability set. Okay.
Okay.
So in the availability set, so there would be three different racks. Okay. And those will be connected with the same storage power and network.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if one of the rack goes down, so we have another rack. Okay. So where the instance or where the load of this instance will be shifted. Okay.
Mm.
So once the one when one instance goes down, so we have another instance in place to provide the continuous services.
Okay. Sure. I will note it down.
Okay.
Hmm.
That is use when there is a issue at the rack level. When there is an issue at the data center level,
I will
then
put
what
this
is
one.
availability zone, right?
Yeah.
Though, so that's how we will overcome that. Okay. And what is update domain?
Update domain. Okay. I will try to explain the way. Update domain is present in availability set. So
Hmm.
generally, it is used for in the case while the servers are in maintenance or servers, so that these update domains will be uh, same as fault domain. The update domain will also change its rack, where these all are connected to the same network, same storage. Same power. Maximum update domains can be kept for 0 to 20, like 20 racks can be kept for so whenever there is a need of maintenance or upgrading the server, so this update domain will be useful.
Okay. So what you need to explain, like, for update domain. Okay. So every month, so there should be patches which should be applied on to the virtual machines. Okay. And in real time scenarios, one cannot have cannot afford to have downtime. Okay,
Hmm.
during the production. So what we usually do is that when there are patches pushed to a virtual machine, right, and then it needs a reboot. Okay. So what
Hmm.
happens, so in that scenario the load will be shifted to another instance and this instance will get rebooted. Okay. So likewise it will happen across the different update domains. So update domain, remember, update domain, patch update. Okay. Fault domain, when there is a network failure or any power failure or any storage failure. Okay. And there will not be 20 racks, there will be only three different racks in a particular data center.
Oh,
Okay, not 20, only
okay.
three racks.
Okay, but I mean, then how 20 update domains will be there? Like in each rack, maybe
Okay,
seven.
exactly, in each rack it will be segregated like three four kind of thing,
Okay.
four five accordingly. Okay,
Okay.
so that's how it would be. Okay.
Got it.
mm, got it. All right. So what is the today's topic? So we are mostly done most of the things with the uh what do you call, Azure virtual machine. There is nothing much which we have in the virtual machine. Okay, so I have shown you how do we access the virtual machine and do the things like that, right?
Hmm.
And I would want you to just go through the recordings once again, uh, once we're done with the classes and all, so that in case if you have any kind of doubt, so you can directly ping out me. Okay. And Mahesh, did you get a chance to go through the previous recordings? Do you have any doubts?
Not actually. I'll go through it. I'll
Okay.
attend the classes for 3 days now, and we'll discuss on this.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, no problem. So far we have discussed mainly most of the things pertaining to the virtual machines. Okay, so what all things that can be done? So resizing of the virtual machine can be done, the disk addition, right? So those are the things in the real time scenarios. So uh, the task that you would get usually is to resize a virtual machine, or to power off the virtual machine, or to power on the virtual machine, kind of things.
Hmm.
Okay, so these are the mainly things that you would get in order to work upon. Okay, and there are some real time issues that you usually get, where your virtual machine agent status will not be in ready state. VM agent is not in a ready state. Okay, so the only option to troubleshoot that particular virtual
Uh,
machine is to reboot.
Gopal, have you shared your screen?
No, not yet. I
No.
have cleaned up
Okay.
the resources.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, uh, I'll just share, just a moment.
Generally, customers generally ask like us, like, and we need to shut down the VMs or shut down the VMs. They ask us, or how it
They
works? Like
ask us.
tickets.
They
Okay.
ask. They
Okay.
ask actually. Okay, when there is a request, they would ask you to do that. Okay,
Okay.
so I am sharing my screen. So I am creating a virtual machine. So
Okay.
I'll just take you through each and every minute things. Okay. Okay. Just I just clean up that VM virtual machine resources and everything. Okay.
Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think there is some.
Now I'm not able to hear you. No, unable to hear you.
I stopped discussion.
I'm not getting Gopal voice actually.
Yeah, I'm also not getting. Mm.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it is
Yeah,
okay.
Okay. Actually, I connected us.
Now again it is not audible.
Yes, yes. There's some fluctuation.
No, unable to hear you. Still not.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it is audible. Yeah.
Okay, good. Just a moment. Okay, so right now I'm just sharing my screen. Let me know once you start seeing it.
Create a virtual machine is what I'm able to see now.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm on the portal and I'm creating a virtual machine. So as I have already gone through these steps, so that's the reason I'm not explaining.
Yeah, okay.
See, validation is passed, so I'm creating this VM right now. And may I know the RDP port number? What is the RDP port number that we usually use?
RDP
Port number.
port number. Okay, 338.
Very sure.
Hopefully, I'm sure. Hopefully. 3389.
Oh yes. Okay. 3389 is the port number for RDP. Okay.
Hmm.
And I'm just taking to the VM right now. See, this is the VM state right now. Okay. So here you will be able to see that under which resource group this VM is being deployed and what is the operating system, the size, or the public IP. So this is the public IP we usually use in order to connect to the virtual machine outside the internet, over the internet. Okay. But in real time scenarios, what happens? This public IP will not be there. Okay.
Hmm.
Because they need to access using the private IP. Okay.
Okay.
And it will show the location. This is the subscription under which this VM is being deployed, and this is a VNet. Okay. This is the subscription ID. DNS anyways we did not configure, so it's not there. Okay. So same thing, you will be able to see that. Okay. Now the operation that you can perform over this is like, I already explained you regarding the activity log and IAM per tags and all, right? So there is something called okay. So you'll come across the scenarios where the VM, so right now it's running, but you'll be getting an error kind of thing on the top here stating that the VM agent status is not ready.
Okay.
Okay. It means there is a service which is there inside the virtual machine, and that service is not being started, and due to which we are not able to RDP. Ping will be working, but you won't be able to RDP. Okay. So in that scenario, the only option is to reboot the server. You need to take approval from the server owner or from the client and need to restart from here. Okay. This is a hard reboot that we are doing.
Okay.
Okay. So this is one thing. Uh, and apart from that, there is something called network settings.
Hmm.
Okay. Y- So you will be given a task where you will be asked to attach another NIC card. So this is where you come and make the changes. Attach a network interface. Okay. Because this activity cannot be performed because the VM is in running state.
Okay.
Okay.
You need to
A-
stop it and then attach it.
exactly. Okay. And there are some servers. Let's say it's a domain. If it is a domain controller or any kind of DHCP server, okay, people will ask you what is the you need to set the IP address to static. How would you do that?
Your network settings, IP configurations.
Hmm.
Then from there we can change it to static and save.
Okay. Here IP configuration.
Down, scroll down.
Okay. Scroll down. This is the one.
Yes, this
Okay.
here we need to click. We need to change it to static.
Here we can make the changes. Okay. So here you can select here. So this activity can be performed when the VM is in running state. Okay.
Hmm.
Now there is something called the network security group.
Yeah, NSG. Hmm.
This will I'll talk about during the networking part. Okay. So for this NIC, just a moment, not NIC. I'll just go to the VM. And when people say that what is the status of the virtual machine right now, because they are having facing some issue. So how do you do? How do you check that? There is something called boot diagnostic here. Okay, when you click on the boot diagnostic, it will give you the graphical representation of the VM. Okay, see right now it is allowing you, and it is allowing you to access this. Okay,
Mm.
okay, if it is not working, then you will be seeing something else,
Yeah.
just like your laptop. Okay, and also people usually want to know what is the, you know, if server is being rebooted. Okay, so here resource health, this is the place where you can come and check the status of the virtual machine. Okay, so we have allocated a machine, it means it's a new machine which we have deployed. Okay, if I make any changes, so that will be updated here. Okay,
Okay.
serial console. So just like VMware, we have this serial console to connect to the virtual machine. Okay, so by you can run the command from here to check if the ping response is working or not, kind of thing. Okay, I'll just share some standard commands that we do have pertaining to this so that you can use it.
Okay.
Okay, at any given point of time, if you have forgot the password, so you can reset the password from here.
Mm.
Okay, by coming to this reset password, you can make the respective changes. Okay, you no need to remember the old password. The new
Okay.
password what you want to have, you just update it and you can use the same to log into the virtual machine. Okay, so
Okay.
connection troubleshoot and performance diagnostic, anyways we don't use. Okay, and there is something called redeploy. Okay, and due to some issue of the virtual machine, even after multiple reboots, if you are not able to connect to the virtual machine, so this is where you can come and you just redeploy it. Okay,
Mm.
but inside the VM there is something called temporary drive, and if you have saved any data on that temporary drive, you will lose because it's a hard reboot that we are doing.
Okay.
Okay, so the VM will be moved from one host to another host when we are redeploying the virtual machine. Okay, and if we need to raise any kind of support ticket to Microsoft, so this is where you can come and you can raise it.
Mm.
Okay, any doubts or anything that you have?
No.
Okay, so for recess, do we need to have downtime, guys?
For recess, yes.
Yes. Okay, why?
Because it starts rebooting. Once the recess is done, it will get reboot.
Why it will reboot?
Due to the changes, like backend changes.
No, actually the thing is that when we resize, the VM will be moved from one host to another host. So that's the reason it needs reboot.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, hardware changes.
Okay.
Okay, so there is one topic that I just wanted to cover. Just give me a moment. Let me just plug in my laptop chargers. Just a moment. Okay, so right now, let's stop screen sharing. I need to explain something about the Azure Bastion. I'm just checking for the respective whiteboard article. Just okay. Let me know once you start seeing the screen. So, are you able to?
Yes.
Okay, so there is some one service called Azure Bastion. So what is this Azure Bastion, and why do we need to have this Azure Bastion, right? So right now, so when I'm going to the portal, right? So this is the portal. If I need to connect to this virtual machine, so what is happening? I need to use this public IP address, okay? And I need to go to this MSTSC and I need to connect this virtual machine over the internet using 3389 port.
Mm.
Okay, this RDP protocol uses 3389 port number. But in real time scenarios, there are high chances where it can be hacked by the hackers. Okay, it is not that secured, right? Let's suppose I do have any critical applications which are being there on this machine, and now this machine is exposed to the internet, right? So 3389 is the port which will allow users or the developers or the IT admins to connect to the virtual machine in order to work on this, right? So here two requirement we have. We don't want to have this VM exposed over the internet over the 3389 port. Okay, and also and also we want to have people to access this virtual machine. How do we do that? Okay, so there is something called Azure Bastion. Okay,
Okay.
sure. Azure Bastion is see, this is the Bastion. This is one of the connection method. So when we click here on connect, so it is giving the RDP access native RDP. Okay, so there is something called Azure Bastion, which is not been deployed yet. Okay, it allows you to connect to the virtual machine over the web, means on HTTPS or HTTP it will work. Okay, so what happens? So when you deploy it, let's say I do have a user. Okay, consider I have this user and he is using the Bastion service. So when he is using the Azure Bastion service, he is using the Bastion service. So what happens? So he'll not be connecting to the virtual machine via 3389. He'll be connecting using the browser. Okay, so what happens when we are using the browser? So there is something called authentication certificates and everything which will be there in place, right?
Hmm.
So in that way we can secure the things. So that's nothing but the Azure Bastion. I'll just deploy the Azure Bastion right now. Okay,
Hmm.
so in the backend it is asking how many instances we want us to create. So right now, okay, so what happens? So you are accessing the virtual machine using the browser, but in the backend you will be having the actual virtual machines. Okay,
Sorry.
in the backend you will be having the virtual machines,
Okay.
but you won't be directly connecting to this virtual machine. You will be connecting through the browser, and
Hmm.
as per the load, the connection will be redirected to the respective available virtual machines. Are you getting me?
Yes.
In the backend there will be a pool of virtual machines. Maybe you can have minimum of 2. Okay, but when the end user is connecting, he's using the browser. He's
Hmm.
using the browser to connect instead of directly accessing this virtual machine. Okay, so this one we gonna deploy it right now. This is the standard tier I'm using, or the basic tier I can go for. So where I can have minimum of this one. So Azure Bastion will be deployed at what you call at virtual network level. Okay. First of all, we need to create, so that's when we need to associate it. So I'll just show it to you tomorrow regarding the Bastion. Okay. So I'll go to some other topic, the VM skill set. Okay. So Azure Bastion, you got an idea. And regarding the lab, I'm gonna show it to you later. Okay. I'll cover this because that's gonna need to have the additional virtual net, and what do you call that IP configuration has to be in place subnet. So tomorrow I'm gonna cover some basic of networking concepts so that you'll be getting an idea of this subnet and all. Okay. And once that's been done, so it will be pretty easy for you to understand why we need to have this /26 as a subnet. Okay. So that's the reason I'm just not showing, that's why I'm not showing the lab today for that. Okay. So that's about the Azure Bastion. I'll just take you to the Azure VM skill set. VM skill set. See, this is one of the service VM skill set. Okay. The reason, let's suppose I do have a virtual machine. Okay. I have this virtual machine and I have some critical application inside it. Okay. I have some applications installed on it. Let's say it's a SQL application. SQL application. Okay. So what is happening is that there are multiple users who are coming. I do have, let's suppose there are 10 users who are accessing the virtual machine at the same time. Okay. And the load would be up to some extent. But when I have 30 people who are accessing the virtual machine at the same time, obviously the response time of this machine would be slow because multiple users are accessing it, right? So there is something called VM skill set came into the picture. So this is the service which is being introduced by the Microsoft in order to overcome such scenarios. Okay. So what we can do is that we can have, what we can do, we can create in the VM skill set. What happens, we can have, let's suppose I have 10 users, so they can use this one. Okay, I can set a matrix like if CPU of this particular virtual machine, okay, goes beyond 80%, goes beyond 80%, then I can have the another virtual machine, another instance of the same size. Okay, and now the load will be shifted.
Okay.
Okay, so in the back end, what happens? The people will not be connecting to this SQL particular virtual machine. They will be connecting to the front end IP. Okay, front end IP, and in the back end there will be the different machines, just like a bastion I talked about. Just like in the backend you will be having these machines. Okay, to be more precise or to be more clear, let me just put it in this way. So what happens, this will be the front end IP. Okay, IP, and in the backend you'll be having a different virtual machines, multiple virtual machines. Okay, and here I'll, and there will be user. Okay, and this user will be connected to the front end IP. Okay, he'll be connected to the front end IP. Depending on the load on this particular virtual machine, only one instance will be there. Okay, let's suppose if the load is more, okay, let's suppose I do have 20 members, then what happens, I'll set a matrix like when the CPU of this particular instance goes beyond 80%, then I can have another instance of same size. Okay, should be coming up. Okay, which is nothing but scale out. Okay, if the total load of these two instances goes 80%, then I can have another virtual instance which is coming in place. Likewise, okay, in the same way, when the load decreases, it goes below 80%, then this will disappear. The instance will disappear. Only this instance will handle the load.
Hmm.
Okay, but at the at the front end, user won't be able to know that where to which instance he is connecting to. He is connecting to the front end IP,
Hmm.
or it is just like a load balancer to him.
Hmm.
But in the backend, he'll be connecting to the VMs. Ultimately, he is connecting to the VM instances. Okay, and now in the scale set, when instances are getting increased, so we call it as scale out. Out means it's going out. When it is increasing, instance is increasing, we saying scale out. Okay, once the instance is decreasing, we call it as scale in. Okay, if it is increasing, it is getting out, so that's the reason we say that is scale out. When it is, when the load is less, okay, and the VM instance usage is decreasing, then we say that it's a scale in. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
and now in the VM scale set, we have something called the horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. Okay, so right now the scenario which I explained you, where you have the similar type of instance coming out. Okay, it is going horizontally, right? I have another instance. After that, when the load increases, then I have another instance. This is increasing horizontally. So this is called as horizontal scaling. Okay,
Hmm.
identical VM instances. These all are identical VM instances. Okay, so let's say when I talk about, this is nothing but the horizontal scaling. Okay, we have something called vertical scaling also. Vertical scaling. Vertical scaling means when the load increases, okay, then you know, I think this instance will be having some, let's say it's 8 gig of memory, okay, and two virtual CPUs, two virtual CPUs. I have set a matrix, or I have set a condition where the, when the CPU utilization of this VM gets increases, so instance gets increases, then automatically more 8 GB and more two virtual CPU gets added. It means, it means the hardware of this instance is getting increased here. Okay, here, but in horizontal, you'll have identical virtual machine of same size. But here on the same instances, or on the same instance, you're having hardware, you are increasing your hardware. Getting me?
Yeah.
Okay, only same instance will be there, but the hardware will be increased as per the matrix, so that load can be shared and user can have faster access to that particular VM. And this is very important and typical interview questions. What is horizontal scaling and what is vertical scaling?
Okay.
And this acts as a load balancer. Okay, all these
Yeah.
will be added in the backend pool. Any doubts?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I would want you to just go through this one once. Okay, and tomorrow I am gonna take you to networking basics and also this Azure Bastion and VM skill set lab activity. Okay, If you have any doubts or anything from this today's session, just let me know.
No.
Okay. All right. So remaining things we'll discuss tomorrow. So that's all for today, guys. We'll meet tomorrow. Okay. I'll share the timings and all. But meanwhile, I would want you to just go ahead and make create the VMs and play around, because this is a time where you can make the deploy the things. And in case if you have any doubt, so I'm there to help you out. Okay. Because from tomorrow onwards, I'm gonna start, once the lab has been done, I'm gonna start with networking. Once the networking gets started, so it will be a bit slow and it will be very typical for you to understand. So I would want you to just have full concentration on this networking part, because Azure is nothing but it's a complete networking, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, once you know the basics, then it would be pretty easy for you to manage the things and play around.
Okay.
Okay, so that's all for today. Any questions from Harish and Mahesh?
No, that's it.
No.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll meet tomorrow. Bye.
Yes.
Take care.
Bye.